Welcome back, everyone. This is a new While We're Here podcast. Do you think he should get the death penalty?
I wasn't surprised that there was a shooting at one of these things.
Right.
You're a horrible person. Now, would you call the cops on your kid? Good. He deserving. Or government should get involved, and these people should lose their jobs from government intervention.
Nonetheless, we are here, so welcome back to the channel, everybody.
Well, you don't want to start with our conversation about how you should start it.
Well, what I'll probably do, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I keep the intros.
The other thing to do is
like
do a like graphic, of while we're here with a little bit of soft music, and then go and do like, hey, welcome to our latest episode.
Oh yeah, I like playing with the little editing side of it for sure.
Yeah.
Little things.
All right, so cold start, go.
Well, welcome to While We're Here, everybody. We got Chris here again. He's you got to be the most popular person on the podcast.
I'm your the Andy Richter to your Conan.
We have 3 Patreons together and probably 3 YouTube ones now.
I should probably subscribe so I can watch those Patreons.
I left them open for free for the first couple days. Did you get to watch them at that point?
I didn't get a chance to. I'm pretty busy. No, that's right. But they're really good, so you should subscribe.
Yeah, they're fun. They definitely oh man, I go back and forth because I had so much fun doing the drinking one, but I feel a little bit weird promoting drinking, so I'm always just kind of back and forth on that.
You also have to tell people we were drinking.
I know, it was a fun. Well,
we were just very energetic that day. That's all.
I'm pretty sure it starts off with a full bottle of whiskey on the front,
and
then by the end of it, it's completely gone.
it's a little get loose juice, it gets us talking.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
And on that note, this is hypothetically we're setting this up to be part 1 of 2, right, for today's. And the second one might be one of those Patreon ones where we're sipping on some cups.
Yeah, once we get into the controversies and all of the conspiracy stuff, that one's gonna go on Patreon, and we'll probably get a little tipsy for that. But this one today is a real serious one because of all the stuff that's been happening.
It's all serious for sure. Yeah, yeah. And I'd also like to point out that I don't get tipsy.
Really?
I'm unable to. Yeah.
Well, I think we should let the audience decide that because I would have thought you were tipsy.
No, not at all. I get a little bit more brave with what I say. That's all.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
But on the note of it being a more serious one today, would you like to tell them what we're talking about? It's probably pretty obvious.
Well, everyone seems to be talking about it, but I want to bring up a lot of stuff about Charlie Kirk and just kind of dissect what's going on, with the gruesome thing that's happened to him. I feel like it's important to kind of dissect it and go through it and talk about what exactly he stood for and just a lot of why it became so such a variety of responses. I think that's one of the big things that shocked me is that there were actually people that were saying it was a good thing, and then there's the obvious response of so many people saying this is a horrible, sad thing that's happening. It's a really sad part of reality.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that events like this sometimes bring to light people's true nature, good and bad. And I've the reason I reached out to you to see if you want to do a podcast about this is because I've had I don't know how long has it been now, almost a week, right? A little less than a week of just angry days of just that this happened, the response to it, the implications of it.
How did you first see it?
I was the first one to tell my friends and family about it. Not to say that I broke the news, but I was I think I was just happened to be on YouTube scrolling and seeing breaking news moments after it happened. I wouldn't say that I'm not a member of Turning Point. I have seen a lot of Charlie Kirk's videos. I've watched a lot of them. I'm not. I like watching people like him, and most of the content I watch is people I do not 100% agree with. I like to watch to determine my own opinion, and I thought he was one of the few people who was promoting and putting into action the thing that I really want to see more of and respect, and that's discourse in this country.
Right.
Everyone loves typing from behind a screen and being loud with their opinion. And a lot of times people don't want to talk about it. We've discussed on this podcast, I've lost friendships because people just didn't want to talk to me about thoughts or stances on things. And
Isn't that so crazy how heated people get?
well,
Just
and ultimately
opinions,
that's what
you know?
happened in his public execution, which is exactly what it was. But he, it took place in Orem, Utah.
In Orem, that's why my
I was
introduction to it
I was gonna
so
ask
crazy.
you, like, how far away is that from where you were?
That's about 30 minutes from where I used
Oh,
to
wow.
live in Utah.
Okay.
And so I had friends that were there talking about going to the rally, going
Oh,
to the event.
wow.
And it was funny because I literally was like, I thought that would be so cool. If I was in Utah, I'd try to go to it, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't, and some of my friends were going. And the last text I got from them was like, help find the shooter. And I see this text, and they're sending it out in these group texts. And I'm like, what happened at the rally? you
Yeah.
know? So as soon as
And
I started looking
and
it
at
up,
first
it's
I wasn't,
everywhere.
I wasn't much like when Trump was shot. I wasn't like, oh, he's dead. I wasn't surprised that there was a shooting at one of these things.
Right.
Political turmoil has gotten bigger and bigger over the years, and so I never would have thought that like it would have been something like that. If anything, I would have thought like somebody would have walked up to ask a question, maybe pulled out a handgun, and not have delivered maybe an accurate and been like tackled or something. But this was scary in how, for lack of a better word, efficient it was.
Right. I thought for sure it was exaggerated. When I started seeing all the posts,
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk's shot, Charlie Kirk's dead. And I was just like, there's no way. I literally have seen videos of him talking about how he spends over $1 million a year on his security. Like,
I'm sure he does,
constantly
and
having
even
security
then,
around
it's
him.
not. It's not Secret Service level, which also is not
It's
enough.
not good
Apparently,
enough.
good enough. But yeah, I mean, he's gotten death threats. Steven Crowder used to do this exact same thing, and he stopped doing it because of the death threats he was getting and how agitated. Now, I think Steven Crowder was a little bit less respectful in the way he did it. I think I think Charlie was, despite what anyone says. I don't think he was, while maybe being condescending to stupid questions or comments posed to him. I think he was respectful in a sense that he didn't turn down any topic. He didn't. He invited it all, and especially at colleges where discourse is a thing of the past, and open views on and differing views on things are not often supported.
Right.
It was very important for him. He was the premier proponent for getting the youth involved, and arguably one of the biggest reasons why Trump got elected, because he was able to, there's so many people and a lot of college age kids who didn't have formed opinions or don't or are forming them, and he created a space where you can go and ask or challenge, which you should be allowed to do. That's kind of what this country's founded on. Like,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, it went. I thought of you right away when I saw where it was, and was thinking if you knew anybody who was there.
Another thing that made it crazy about being in Utah still has the death penalty too.
Well,
So
and
it's
he just got his sentencing. Well, not sentencing today. His first appearance in front of a judge was a little bit of like an hour before we start recording this, and the trial set for the 29th. But yeah, it's a firing squad too, so that's ironic or interesting or appropriate. I don't know, not ironic, I guess.
Right. What are your thoughts on that then? Do you think he should get the death penalty?
If I have mixed feelings about the death penalty in general, and most of the reason is because it's not always accurate in who they
Exactly. Yeah, that's scary.
I think in this kind of case, and this may not age well. We may find out differently after the fact, but
Right.
it seems like he is the one who did it. So, if you're certain, sure, why not? There's no. I'm all for rehabilitation and being put back as a normal member of society, but I think our prison system is so broken that rehabilitation is not really something that happens very well. We see a lot of repeat offenders and things like that. And while I think obviously taking a life is a very serious thing and not great, some people, all rights come with responsibilities. So the right to live in this country and to be a free person in this country is a right that we are born with. We have the responsibility to follow the laws and not harm another person. And it's also, if anything else, I'm okay with it because it's hopefully a message and lesson sent that so this stuff doesn't continue.
Right. Yeah. So that some extreme consequence happens, so it discourages this ever happening again.
Yeah.
When I was first asked this question, I immediately was like, Charlie Kirk was a Christian man. There's no way he would want the death penalty
And he may
for
not
his
want
killer.
it. Yeah.
But here's the crazy thing. I thought that, and I was like, Christians are all about forgiveness or whatever, let them have a second chance. But then I saw a video, and it was like, I swear my phone was listening to me, because I saw one of Charlie Kirk's videos where he was like, the only thing that he feels like deserves the death penalty is taking someone's life.
Yeah.
Because he worded it way better than me, so you gotta go look at this clip of him. But he says that the life is so precious that taking away someone's life, the only way to like truly show and give the proper meaning to life is for the consequence of taking a life to be
and I think you could look at it as a punishment, which it definitely is, but also the fact that it's a deterrent. If that person is capable of doing that, then theoretically they're capable of doing it again. And having them even in a prison setting, you don't know that they're not going to do just as bad. I always had the opinion that it should be left up to like the family to decide what happens to them.
Family, so like Charlie Kirk's family, kind of.
But that's just that wouldn't work.
What's cool in this situation is we literally know what Charlie Kirk would want, because he has a video of him saying if someone takes a life, their life should be taken. Yeah. But I mean, that doesn't mean it's fully justified. That's just we know what Charlie Kirk would want. You know? So it's kind of interesting that we can see that in this situation.
Yeah, I also think the fact that he so far, what's been reported, doesn't seem to be. I mean, it wasn't a mistake, obviously, but he also doesn't seem to be remorseful about it. He's not helping in the investigation. He's not offering up, from everything I've heard so far. He hasn't really taken responsibility for it.
Is there any, did he confess, or is there any,
From what I've heard right now, he is not working with authorities. Now, whether he's the guy or not, we can get into that in the next episode.
Okay. Really? Is that deep?
I mean...
Well, because wasn't he turned in by one of his family members?
So the next thing I was going to say is we can talk about the series of events from what has been reported to us. Okay. So from about a little less than 200 yards away, and this is all what has been reported from the information I've gotten. He was on the roof of a structure of a building with what has now been reported as his grandfather's hunting rifle that was gifted to him a long time ago. And single shot, hopped off the building, ran away. Now the reports are that he ran away. He disassembled the rifle on the roof, left the screwdriver behind that FBI Director Kash Patel, who we could talk about that clown show also, but said that there was DNA of his found on that screwdriver. The reports are that he tucked it in his pants, hopped off the roof, went about, I think it was like 10 minutes away to a wooded area, hid the rifle, which was found fully assembled, with the spent casing in the chamber still. So that goes against him taking it apart. And also some of the videos they're showing, or still shots of him where his legs are bent, doesn't really align with, unless he did take it apart and put it in his pants to walk away, which they're reporting. Regardless,
but bottom line, did they find video footage of him leaving the roof? Is that what?
Yes, they have video of him walking and running on the roof, both before and after the shooting.
Okay.
They have video of him hopping off the roof, walking.
So that's pretty compelling evidence, right?
Very much so. Now the argument can be made: was that him? because
the
it's
video
not
is
like
not
it's not
very
like video
clear.
like this.
Uh-huh.
They do have some in a stairwell footage of him walking in the clothing that matched that, but they also said he changed his clothes and then changed back. There's a lot of like, you know what happened here, one of our first podcasts with the shooter here, right?
With all the firemen and that, right?
We still don't know anything about that, and a lot of the information
the
given
guy's
to us
dead, though, isn't he?
yes
The shooter? Okay.
yes but a lot of the
But we don't know
information
why
was
he was
changed
shooting.
after the fact, and it just,
That's weird.
you know, I get that we shouldn't or can't know everything because it's an open investigation still, because there are, and we can get into the Discord channel and all that too. And we, I don't think we as citizens have the need to know everything, right? But when it comes to like what they know and keeping us from speculating, which could in turn cause more division in because everyone's has their opinion of what his motives were. Now some people will say, well, they're pretty clear. He wrote them on the bullets.
That's what's so weird to me. He really wrote things.
Well, that
on
was the case for the shooter in the Minnesota church recently too. That's a big thing. They on the weapon and on the for the Minnesota shooter, it was. I mean, I saw the video. His basically manifesto video he posted showing all of his guns and magazines and everything, and he had everything written on those. But
that's so crazy.
So he got away. 33 hours later, it's very weird that they keep saying the 33 hours, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories about that too. But they hadn't found him, right? And understandably so. It was chaotic, and in the chaos of all this, a gentleman named George Zim, that I don't know if you saw the old guy who was the original one detained and arrested. He's the one who turned to the cops right away, right after it happened, and said, "I did it. I shot him," and said, "Shoot me, shoot me, shoot me." And they detained him and they arrested him.
That's what he said?
Yeah, and it's since been.
Is this dude suicidal, or what's the deal with that?
He's probably off his meds a little bit. He has been involved in different. He also like called in bomb threats to different things and goes to these things a lot. And right after it happened, as I'm watching live news, I'm seeing Fox interview, like local Fox News, interview a guy who's like, the guy they arrested isn't him. I know that guy. He's a friend of mine, and he's at these things a lot, and it wasn't him.
Guy, basically.
Right, but now there's also the theory of like, was he trying to delay finding the real shooter, and who, you know, but that was like suspect number one, where they announced, this is Found Show point number one I have about Kash Patel. They're like, we got a suspect in custody. And then a little while later, we've released him. It wasn't him. And then they do that again, and we released it. It wasn't him.
Wait,
so
there was a second person there?
Yeah, and so for 33 hours, they didn't have anything, right?
Okay.
And as much as the FBI is patting themselves on the back for finding this guy, they didn't do it. They finally, after they put out photos of him,
then
his mom saw the pictures and was like, "That kind of looks like my son."
And wait, his mom turned him in?
His dad, yeah, his dad. So she, I guess this is what I heard today. She called his dad and said, "Hey, have you talked to him? Like, what's going on?" And dad saw the photo they released of the rifle. He's like, "That looks familiar. That looks like his grandfather's that we gifted him." Texted him. He said like, "Oh, I'm homesick. I'm not at home right now." And eventually, from what's being reported, he texted back to his parents saying, you know, basically alluded to that it was me and that he was going to take his own life. And they convinced him to come over to their house, and where the father had, I guess, Robinson's youth minister maybe there, and I think the dad was a former law enforcement, and maybe the youth minister was former military as well. I might be wrong on that. But they detained him basically and turned him in.
That's crazy. So his own parents are like, "Come over here," and then they're sending this whole thing for him to get arrested.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reports are that his parents are more conservative, right-leaning, and that he's
like kind of this rebel kid a little bit, huh?
He's rebelled against that and shown a lot of stronger opinions in the opposite direction recently, and then you just go down the wormhole of who was he, what groups was he in, why did he do this, the theories of that. Yeah, I mean, and that's what's crazy about anytime anything like this happens is that, and I'm as much as fault. We all jump into our theories and we want to know.
Why I'm always skeptical. I'm always like, how
Sure.
did the parents know for sure it was him?
Well, I mean, the picture,
I mean,
if you see a kid that looks like your son.
Parents had a better knowledge.
I'm sure they didn't
think. Most people.
I'm sure they didn't think he was ever capable of it, but in that day and a half or day plus time frame, supposedly there's enough time that they were able to determine that everything is matching to it being him, and when confronting him, he allegedly alluded to the fact that he wanted to take his own life because he didn't want to go to jail, and that was something an earlier podcast that we had. I was going to bring up when we were talking about moral dilemmas. Mm-hmm. Would you ever turn one of your children in for something like that? Would you call the cops on your kid?
Here's what I would say. If I knew for a fact that my kid murdered someone, I feel like I would be able to turn them in. But I would be so skeptical that the evidence would have to be more than him just being like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, because my first thought, my kid said he killed someone, I'd be like, why are you saying that? Why are you suicidal? What's going on? Are you depressed?
Well, I'm sure they had a little bit of a talk.
That they actually went and killed him.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
We always are skeptical. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. And again, not to keep repeating it, but if you are interested in hearing more about the deeper layers of the onion that we will talk about, we will do that on a separate episode, but I was hesitant to conflate or combine the surface level as much of the facts of what's been happening with speculation or theories of why or who or anything like that. So we're going to try to save some of that, and I'm going to do my best to not bring it up. But we were talking about the after it happened, the response to it, and things of that nature, and so
and just the whole audience and the
division
of Charlie Kirk himself. Because I was just saying how it's crazy that people watch Charlie Kirk and just get heated when you should know what he's going to talk about.
Well, and since then and before then, and this is part of our culture right now, is taking stuff out of context, taking clips and making them the black and white of the situation, when in reality, and this kind of breaks down with what's wrong with corporate news, where they have to fit talking points into small segments. Mm-hmm. And what's great about podcasts or other forms of discourse and analysis and reporting where nuance can be talked about. That when you take all that gray area and nuance out of everything, it's very easy to create a one-click narrative of this is what the situation was. Mm-hmm. The fact that he was called everything from a bigot to a misogynist to anti-Semitic, racist, homophobic, transphobic, all these things, while there is an argument to be made for some of them from people who are opponents of his and would want to disagree with anything that the fact of the matter is that he was a fairly moderate to moderate right conservative. He wasn't an extreme right-wing conservative. As you mentioned, he was a conservative Christian man who all of his opinions were based in his faith. And he approached everything with respect. Now, you don't have to agree with what he said.
Which you never have to, though.
No.
Opinions are opinions for a reason,
yes. But it is very clear that one side reacts to disagreement one way, and the other side likes to talk and debate and use reason.
That's what I love about Charlie Kirk is that he is always inviting to controversial topics, to things that people don't normally want to talk about. Yeah. And I'm very impressed at how he's able to give his opinion and stand by it and support it and give evidence and share so many reasons why.
And his opinions have evolved and changed over his life, but he's been doing this for, since he was 18 years old, and created, kind of took over the Change My Mind thing after Steven Crowder abandoned it, and had his podcast and did his Turning Point events, and reached out to a young audience that was desperate for information and discourse and rhetoric and the whole. I mean, Socrates was like the model for like, this is how we become a civilized, intelligent society, is we talk. And to compare anything he said to being a violent act because he was saying things that were inciting harm to people is such a stretch.
It's hilarious too when you have people online like, have you heard of Togi at all? Togi is literally an online influencer known for being a bad influence on kids. And but the freedom of speech protects him. Like, he literally tells young teenagers to do steroids and drugs and stuff. But he subtly says like, oh, don't do it. But he's always promoting it. And it's like so many people look at that and it's like he's able to, because it's his freedom of speech.
And that's the other thing, is that
it's his own opinion,
and that ties into the subtlety of it. That kind of ties into what one side is vilifying him as, is they're typing out something he said, where he said like, I don't believe in empathy, was the big thing that a lot of people were spreading around, or that the Second Amendment is okay if the outcome of that or the result of that is unwrongful gun deaths, and people are like, see, he asked for it. And it's like, you were not playing or listening to or taking upon yourself to watch his entire answer to either of those questions, which would actually support all of his points and discredit what you're saying about him.
Well, and at the end of the day, it's an opinion. So even if he's out there saying we should take away everyone's guns or we should give everyone guns,
he has the right to do that.
It's an opinion, he can. That's not a justifiable reason to be like, he should be killed for that.
And the fact of the matter is guys like him, every talking head on the right has gotten death threats consistently. And the left gets some too, but we never hear about the attempts on the lives of. Now, people will argue there are the two senators in Minnesota who were shot, and I'm not saying it's 100%.
Isn't it funny too, though, that theoretically it seems like it would be more the other way around, because the rednecks are usually
and that's what's crazy about all this is that I'm not saying this and I'm not advocating this, but if that side wants to go here, they're picking a fight with the wrong people. You know what I'm saying? Like, the right is very like, let's talk. Let's use our words. Let's debate. Let's have discourse. And they're like, no, let's riot. Let's shoot at you. Let's burn cities to the ground. Let's do this. And it's like, careful how far you poke this lion.
Right.
Because you're not going to, you're treating certain factions of the right as a joke, and you're not going to like the punchline if it comes to that. And I hope, and I love the response from the right, that the next day it was vigils and remembrances and celebrations of life. There weren't riots. There weren't setting fire to cities.
I was amazed all the way out here in CDA. They had a memorial.
Charlie.
I thought that was so cool.
Everywhere, and they have the yogurt shop across from the movie theater has Charlie Kirk on their yogurt cups and stuff like that. Like, I mean, cool. we're in a very Charlie friendly area here, but true. But the point I'm making is that it's just so crazy to me that anyone, and I have been impressed that I've been surprised that some people on the left have said this was horrible and you shouldn't do this and all that. People who I wouldn't expect.
Multiple people that are like, super against Charlie Kirk. They don't like it. Like everyone knows Charlie Kirk's position, what he represents, and there's a lot of people that don't like it. But most of the people I've talked to that don't even like Charlie Kirk say that this is still a sad thing to have, and it obviously is. You know?
And then you have the ones that we've seen a lot of, which are celebrating it,
right,
and laughing at it, and I mean, the spectrum of my thoughts on that are so large. Like, if you think that or feel that, like, good. If that's your thought, like, good, he deserving, or you're happy about it, you're a horrible person. You should, like, that's the problem. If you think
I wouldn't jump to saying that horrible person.
If you think somebody should be murdered for something they said that wasn't a call to violence, he wasn't saying rise up.
But it could be that the people don't have all the information, though. You know,
still, there's something wrong in people who, if you hear something bad happen to somebody and you're overjoyed by it, that is a sick thing and a problem in our country right now. There are plenty of people who I mean, there's a lot more now that I actually hate, but there's a lot of people who I really do not like. I never wish for them to be publicly executed. Right. Do I want them to not be in their position of power? Do I want them to not say the things that they say or think differently? Absolutely. Right. And how do you combat that? Discourse and dialogue, and try to prove them wrong, or work harder to do your part on the other side. But to respond to that with a public execution is gross, right? So to think that, I already think is just horrible. To post about it online is a new degree of evil that I didn't think was possible. And then on top of that, to post video of you laughing and celebrating it, that's just, it makes me sad for the future of this country. And I used to be hopeful in, like, maybe they're, not to use the pun of, there will be a turning point where we can all agree on a reasonable middle ground. But I saw somebody say that, like, I heard somebody say if 9/11 happened today, there would be a lot of people, like, celebrating it.
What? Really?
Just because of the division in this country. There's and it doesn't matter.
With so many people, there's always going to be extremists. There's always going to be people that have just wild views.
And it goes on both sides. You can't convince people on the right that X, Y, or Z should be the other way. That we're hard-headed people, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Sure. And I am not, as I've said on here, I am not super right-leaning. I am very moderate, and there's a lot of things that our current administration is saying and doing that I am very much not aligned with or against. But this administration, it's been painted in such a hyperbolic way that it's created these people who are going to go out and want to do violence.
But do you wonder, though, if there's always been people like that, but it's just like, in our day and age now, it's almost easier for them to, like, be presented and be seen more now?
That's a fair enough point. Yeah, to a certain degree, yes, but I also think the same thing that allows it to be presented is the problem, and that's social media and the internet, and it.
Well, I'm just shocked that it becomes so, like, in front of people's faces. Because, like, if I saw a post of someone celebrating Charlie's death, I would ignore it because that's going to be the easiest way for it to not get seen or go more places, right?
Oh, but people share it,
so
and
many
then
people are like, they get heated, and then
that's for sure the case, and it goes on all
everywhere.
things. Police violence, and we've talked about this a lot when we've recorded podcasts, is that if it bleeds, it leads, like salacious and sexy sells. And so you're never going to see a full news, a nightly news that covers all the good things that happen in the world. You know, it just doesn't, right? And so, but that in and of itself gives people every one of those things they see waters that seed, and it creates a worldview in these people that is more extreme than it's ever been.
Right.
We haven't seen an assassination like this since arguably the late 60s, and MLK and JFK, and like that, a politically motivated assassination, which happens around the world all the time. And there have been arguably events that are adjacent to that in our history always. But the thing that bothers me is that this all started, that seed I'm talking about was planted years ago when former administrations told their supporters to go and punch a Nazi. That was their thing. Go out and it's okay to punch a Nazi in the face. And
because they were like mad at Nazis, basically, right? Trying to paint them in a bad picture and everything.
But they were calling Republicans Nazis. That's how. And so they're saying like, and this is like, it's hard not to go down really weird wormholes with this,
right.
But if you create a narrative that this group of people, what's ironic about this is basically what Hitler did, is that you create a narrative that this people are all a scourge on society, and it is our duty to not just vote to beat them, but to like physically confront them, and those were calls to action, right? And so that started like, Maxine Waters saying, if you see any of these people out at a public place, at a gas station, go up to them, confront them, get in their face. There were, and I know the argument can be made that Trump has incited this on the other side, and that everyone will say January 6th was this thing too. January 6th, as much as it is reported, was not a violent insurrection compared to.
You're talking about when they went through the White House
to the Capitol, yeah. Compared to the George Floyd riots or anything that happens that when the Lakers win in LA, the physical violence and harm done to public
like
places, and so it's become a normal thing, and our side doesn't do that. I'm not saying our side, the right side.
Well, it's like you can never 100% say about one side does this, one side does that. There's always back and forth.
Right, and again, there are extremes to both sides.
Exactly, yeah.
And most of us are in the middle, and that's what's crazy is we get pushed to one side or another.
Right, but that's where the question is though, like what? Because obviously it is to some degree a good thing when people fight back to something, especially if something bad is happening.
Our country was started on that.
Exactly. Yeah. So that we can't say that like that all has to be shut down, but there has to be some sort of like a way to be able to properly see when it's a good time to like basically bear arms or to fight back versus stepping back, because there's going too far both ways.
Sure.
You don't want your government to just step on you or any like group of people to just do whatever they want and you do nothing.
But if this is starting the snowball of if you don't like something that somebody is saying, it is justified and okay. Because what's the determination of that? What's the definition of what's okay to say and what's not? That's a huge gray area.
That's what's crazy. Anything like the freedom of speech, people should be able to say whatever the frick they want, and it should be okay. To an extent, I used to think there was no extreme version of this, but I've had many conversations about examples of like, if you obviously are going and saying there's a bomb on a plane and stuff like there's some things
freedom of speech. Yeah, freedom of speech does not apply for yelling fire in a movie theater. Like that's the example that people say. You can't scream fire in a theater. Yeah. That is not freedom of speech.
But like that's one way to see a crystal line for sure. Yeah. But I'm sure there's lots of gray areas too, and that's okay.
But that's a problem where and I will admit this goes to the current Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is another clown. Her right now, yesterday or today, came out and said that all these firings that are happening for people that are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, seems hypocritical, and I kind of agree that it's like you guys were the side that said don't cancel people, and now you're getting people fired for saying something.
Yeah, that was kind of
it's a private business's right to do that, though, right? Like it's not anyone.
But isn't that kind of like I thought when I first saw that post, it seemed very petty. Like they're gonna go just because someone was saying something.
Yeah,
again,
sure.
You know?
Yeah, no, I
They're
agree.
gonna
I
go and
agree.
get them fired.
I agree.
it.
There shouldn't be a mandate, and to my point, the attorney general should not be saying we are going to crack down, and that is so not what the right believes. Like that is so against freedom of speech, and that is gross too. And so there's been responses on both sides that make me lose a lot of faith in this country. But the fact of the matter is that anyone who got fired, they didn't get fired from the national government. They got fired from a private company that doesn't want their employees celebrating the public execution of someone. You know, it may just, it's the same thing.
Isn't that a problem too? If your job is dependent on your belief system, your opinions, that seems a little bit scary too. I wouldn't want to be able to get fired just because I like or don't like Charlie Kirk, right?
I think there is a line that's crossed when you are an individual. And again, this is the problem, in my opinion, is that there's no longer the black and white that there used to be in this country, that killing someone for something they said is bad.
Right.
Like that used to be a given. Everyone would agree on
right?
that. And now that we have to debate that, it's very concerning, you know?
But I don't think so much that we're debating if that is good or bad. I think the debate is more of like people's reaction to what happened. Like, where is it okay? Where is it too far? Where's the line?
Their reaction
that, you know?
is, quote, he deserved to get murdered because of things he said, right?
Yeah, that's the extreme side.
So let me ask you this:
But
you're a
there's
business
lots of
owner.
it
You're a
too.
business owner, and one of your employees posted online that girl who got sexually assaulted deserved it because of what she was wearing. Would you want that employee working at your job?
Absolutely not, but I don't think I would fire them because I'd feel like that's just an opinion. If it interfered with work, because of that opinion, he's just like being rude to all women that come in and stuff.
When you
then
hire
that would be
when you hire somebody, and they have on their resume,
that they're sexist.
yeah. If they have on their resume, would you hire that person? You would. Because so that's what I'm saying.
Already hired though, and then I found out
but what's the difference?
But here's the thing: I wouldn't fire someone just because they're sexist. I would fire them once their belief of being sexist
bled into the work.
Problem, you know,
bled into the work
and like offends a customer or different things.
Sure.
You know, it wouldn't just because someone has an opinion of being, you know, liking one gender over the other. To me, that's not a reason to fire someone. It's when that causes a problem in the workforce, or even with the coworkers too.
All right.
Anything that causes an issue.
Let's go down this road. Should somebody be arrested for threatening to kill somebody?
Oh, that's a good one.
My point is this: is that
If
some
there's anything
it's
behind it, maybe.
but that's
just an empty threat? Probably not, because people want to murder people all the time.
I know.
It's not bad to want someone dead. It's bad to do anything towards making it happen.
well, that's not what the law is. I mean, if you publicly make a threat of somebody's life, that's illegal. You're not allowed to say, "I'm going to kill you." That's a death threat, and there are legal ramifications.
But what if you say, "I want you dead"? Is that different?
It depends the context it's in, and you're getting into lawyer nuance then. But
wait, you really could go to jail just for saying that I'm probably gonna kill you or something? Like, where's the line on that?
I think it depends on
if they stare you in the eye. Like,
yeah. If I'm like, oh, I'm gonna kill you,
right?
And you put this online, I'm not gonna go to jail for that.
Right.
But if we're having a heated debate, and
we slam the tail like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
But like, if you don't do anything towards it, though, isn't that an empty threat? Even if you said you were gonna kill me,
you're right. It's empty. They should follow through on it. No,
Really?
I'm just, but it's
interesting.
if you say bomb on an airplane, should you be arrested?
What? No. If you say bomb.
If you say
If you
there's a
tell
bomb,
people, I planted a bomb on this plane, then you'll probably get in trouble.
that's
right?
just an empty threat, though. You didn't plant a bomb. You just said it.
That's true.
But this is my point. Esco, this is my point. Is that we have responsibilities, and I think we've all gotten so careless and spoiled and entitled that we think that we can just do or say whatever we want to without consequences.
Well, you can't do whatever you want, but freedom of speech is supposed to let you say whatever
Posting
you want,
a
right?
celebration of somebody's public execution is doing something they wanted to do, and there are consequences for that.
But here's the thing. I 100% agree with you. That's a horrible thing to do. I wouldn't want that involved in my life. But in America, a free country, I still feel like people should be able to.
You're
post
absolutely
that,
right. You know what other freedom there is?
What?
That employer to not have them as an employee.
Exactly. Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying the government should get involved and these people should lose their jobs from government intervention. I'm saying that if you had an employee and you found out they posted a video of this,
Then you should have every right to let them go.
absolutely,
right?
100%.
For
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's all I'm saying. I don't, and again, I brought this up because the current attorney general, and she's since tried to walk it back a little bit, was basically saying we're going on a witch hunt for all this hate speech against Charlie Kirk. And it's like, that is not your job as a government. That is, in fact, the opposite of what you should be doing. Like,
Wait, what? Sorry, go into that more. What do you mean? The government's doing something they shouldn't?
they're not right. I mean, they're not right now, but the attorney general, Pam Bondi, basically said that they are looking into, because there is some gray area in this too, where, and we kind of steered off from the suspect in the shooting and his Discord chat, and what was reported as 20 people and now reported to be a lot more, allegedly, who were in this group chat where this crime was talked about, carried out, and maybe supported, and there are accomplices in it. So there is this gray area that has to fall under the veil of this investigation, where what is being said online is accessory to this murder, is promotion of this, which could be harmful in, like that YouTuber you're talking about. If you go online and say, hey kids, go take drugs, they're fun, you should have some legal ramifications for that, right? If you're trying to convince children to take drugs, in theory, right?
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Okay, so there's a public health risk.
If it's like,
if it's satire,
literally getting them to do drugs, maybe. But like, if it's just a joke,
I'm not talking about jokes. I'm not talking about jokes. So anybody online right now who's saying like, good, this happened, and here's a list of other people this should happen to, do you think that's okay?
I don't like that for sure, but I do think they should be able to. They should be able to post and be like, whatever their opinion is, they didn't like Charlie Kirk, so great, but like, that's just an opinion.
I think it's tough in our world now because the internet was not around when the Constitution was written, right? Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And so like
It's a
saying
whole nother level to it
something
all.
is one thing. Like what I say to you behind closed doors. Listen, what I say on chat threads with my fantasy football league, if that got let out, I should never be hired anywhere, But because we say joking hyperbolic, like,
I know, yeah, but it's
right.
all just like
That
it's
is-
just ideas and just words.
that is
There's
different.
No action
That
behind
is
those.
different than encouraging and inciting violence. And this isn't gray area like oh, I wish somebody would do something.
Right.
Oh, that's interpreted to say like this public execution happened. ... I wish it would happen to these people, or I'm glad this happened, or we need to see more of this. That's a direct response saying that these things are good and encouraging it.
I never thought of how like complex this would get with just the
But
even saying words. It's just
I know,
words,
and
it's
that's
crazy to
that's
me.
our country right now, and it's not a black and white thing, and I'm not right in what I'm saying 100%.
Here's why I'm a little bit like wanting to try and see the other side, because remember that CEO that was like in the health stuff and got shot.
Oh, I
Some
know.
people
That's
were
another
like,
thing.
He should probably be killed because he's doing all these things, right?
He
And
just
those
had
are
2
all
of his charges
theoretical.
dropped today.
Oh, they did?
Luigi Mangione was the shooter. He had 2 of the 2 terrorism charges were dropped.
Okay, but see, so if like theoretically someone's just like, the CEO does a lot of shady stuff,
Yeah.
he should probably be killed. Like, that's just someone's opinion, right? Like, it's crazy for someone to think that whatever the extremist is, right? But a lot of people do. So just saying it out loud, I feel like that makes us more human. You know, because we're all thinking certain things. You know, like, why can't we say it as long as we're not going to actually go out? I mean, you'd hope you're not going to actually go out and kill someone just because they deny your insurance, but. Like, you should have every right to be able to say that if you really felt that
maybe
way,
not publicly. I think the only, when it comes to physical harm or death to another person, that is the one exception to
right, where you should have
where it's like, let's go ahead and put a leash on that. If I post online, I want to go on a bachelor party with my boys and get hookers and cocaine, it's like, okay, well, those are two illegal things. I shouldn't, you know, that's just like yes, you should be able to say things.
Right.
But again, rights come with responsibilities. And
but here's my other side to this. If you say that, you know, someone should be killed, then it's very likely you're going to have a lot of people online that don't want to see that. They're like, not listen to you. You know, like there's going to be ramifications, whether the government that makes ramifications or not, that it's like, doesn't that a little bit already like have a solution in some extent?
Another example I'll give, which, because again, I'm not talking about there should be ramifications from the government for people saying it good, I'm glad this happened. Those are just horrible pieces of shit.
What ramifications are you saying there should be then? Like cancellation?
I'm not saying there should be. I'm saying it's okay for an employer to fire those people.
Yeah.
It's completely within their right to.
Absolutely.
Just like if those people posted a crazy video of them running naked down the street on a drunk party night,
then
that employer could see that and be like,
right?
hey, I'm going to fire you because I saw this. Because just for the simple, basic logic of like, you're associated with this business and somebody sees that, an association, somebody from North Idaho College just got fired. They are a institution of higher learning where that person has an influence on what they're teaching. And they may not want somebody under their employ that is promoting things that are against their community standards, right?
Did they say exactly why they fired this guy?
I think they have a press release.
What was the reason for this one? I'm curious because I wonder if
I don't know enough details. I just saw the blurb that he was fired. I'm just giving the example of that. There was a coach for the Panthers, I think. Same thing. I know the North Idaho thing. I can't remember the first part, but the end of it was he said thoughts and prayers, and he spelled thoughts THOTS, which is what your people watching this know what that stands for.
I'm
basically
horrible at spelling.
Fit girls. He spelled it wrong. And prayers, PREYERS, as in people who pray. And so it was making fun of. But that's definitely could have been a mistake, though, right? No,
you think it was for sure planned?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I could have easily made that mistake. I'm horrible at spelling.
Okay, you're not a professor at a university.
Oh, this is a professor?
Yeah. And B, spell check. C, these are two deliberately other spellings that you based on, and again, I don't remember exactly what he said right before it. People can research it, or I'll send it to you after this, and you can see. But
wait, so that was something he got fired for?
Yeah, and it was more so. It was more so the thing he said before it,
right.
and just laughing about it and making fun of it. And after 9/11, if anyone, said anything that and got back to their employer about making light of 9/11, they got fired too. Like, you just don't want somebody like that as an employee,
right?
And it's not. And it's not just.
But that's kind of where I feel like I'm coming from too. When people have crazy things and they go public about them like this, then there usually are already natural repercussions that happen.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think there needs to be this cancel culture or these.
I agree. We're not. Yeah, we don't disagree on that. I don't think there should be an entity manhunt or witch hunting to find these people and get them fired.
Yeah, I think they're naturally going to have the repercussions.
Yeah, but people are being like, why did I get fired? And it's like, because you effed around and found out. Like, that's what happens,
I see. So I was thinking.
So on that point, people are then comparing that to Charlie Kirk, saying, well, he also effed around and found out. He said things, and the repercussion is he got shot. And that is where I draw the line of like, no, that is
That is
not the same
crazy,
thing.
yeah.
Losing your job and losing your life are different.
Oh yeah.
Having being demonetized on YouTube because you said some wild stuff, that sucks, arguably, but that's
Well, demonetize is 100% acceptable because that's the same thing. The YouTube business doesn't want to.
so it's the
support certain things.
same thing as
But-
losing your job. Yes,
yeah. But where I think it's too far is when YouTube will completely take down a video just because
But
it's too
it's YouTube's right to do that.
Yeah, you're right.
You're not getting
but
you're not getting in trouble or
that's
arrested if you take that
censorship,
video.
though.
They're a public company. They have the right to do that. It's not the government
that's
sense. That's what that's the gray area of all this is that I can't bring my gun into a hospital, but I can bring it other places. Well,
wonder why.
or
Why
in some
can't you bring
states,
guns into
you're getting too much in the weeds on the example.
Yeah, sorry.
Like no,
I still, because like I get so like, when I think about this kind of stuff, I always think about like the practical life implications, right? Because there's always the extremes of things. So
Right.
I always want to know like why people created these.
and the reason I use
specifics,
extreme analogies is because you start there and then you take a step back and then a
Right.
step back and then a step back. And so my thing is I can't bring a gun on a plane, right?
Right.
Do you understand why?
Well, just because of history, right? Isn't it?
I don't know, sure,
probably because of people
but
have
like,
hijacked
but I think
planes?
we could all agree, like, yeah, you
Like,
can't
don't
bring a gun on a plane, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, here where we live, you can bring a gun anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of crime here, also, by the way.
Yeah.
Just saying that. Interesting how those things correlate. But you take a step back. Okay, so then you can't bring a gun to an airport, right? Because you can't bring it on a plane. Why do you have it at the airport? Okay, that's fine. Can you bring it in the Uber ride on the way to the airport? Well, the person who's driving you there may not want you to have it in their car, and that in that state, that law, that's their right to have that. And so I use that as an analogy for like, okay, you can't kill somebody for saying something they said, right? Okay. Can you take a shot at them but not hit them?
No, that's attempt.
Okay. But what if you weren't attempting? What if you were just
If
what
it
if I sat
looks
here and I
like
purposely
attempt,
shot
though,
there?
Then it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yes. So legally, yes, you're right. So there are these lines that are drawn that are like, okay, this is where that line is, where you can bring a gun to a public event in open carry states.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can't fire that gun. You're going to have the cops come talk to you and be like, why'd you fire that gun? You can fire it as a personal defense.
In the air,
You can't do-
there's
that's
way
illegal.
less reperetions though than if it
That's
looks
still-
like you're trying to shoot.
That's
somebody.
still illegal. You
Yeah,
can't discharge a firearm. This isn't
Mm-hmm.
no, right, that was gonna be a weird statement. But those also bullets come down and
Exactly.
can hurt
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
You can hit a bird, you can hit a bald eagle. But there's reasons why there are lines for some of these laws, right? And so
Oh yeah.
And so I guess my point is that we right now to compare shooting Charlie Kirk for something he said is equal to him saying things that could lead to somebody doing something radicalized, do this, and that is just as harmful as shooting him. That's a bad precedent to set, and something I can see why it's being nipped in the bud, because I think we are a very volatile and violent country right now. And
Where are some of those in betweens on that one though?
you could argue the right to have a gun. Like if there's
Where would your line be though? Where would you put the line?
for what? Right to have a gun?
Well,
Well, let's talk about that. I don't think everybody needs access to assault rifles. I also don't want the option off the table. That the Second Amendment was written for the reason of arming yourself
against the government.
against
or
a
something?
tyrannical government, right? And so
So do you think a personal individual should be able to buy a tank?
no, but then the argument could be made that like, oh well, you're gonna need a tank against the government because like it's also silly to think
here's
that.
my thought. I think it should be definitely very difficult to get a tank. But if there were proper things set up of like making sure you're not a crazy person, making sure you don't have a criminal record, things like that, why couldn't someone buy a tank? Theoretically, as long as if they used it properly, right? Which I don't know how you could ever use a tank properly, but theoretically, if there were things put into place, why couldn't an individual own a tank?
Let's say, sure. Yeah, I guess that's true. There was.
That's why I think it's too extreme when people say, "Oh, people should only be able to have single shotguns or something." No machine guns or something like that. Because then it's like, why not? If they use it properly,
I just think the gun debate's stupid because, like, I was about to say because cops are allowed to have guns. I thought that was a cop. I was like, oh, perfect. And private security can have guns, and like, so there's going to be guns, and there's going to be illegal guns. So it's just like I mean, we walk around here, and I'm at a farmer's market, and I see an old man with a gun on his hip, and I feel safer. Like, if everyone walking around had a gun on them, what's the likelihood of somebody going into you know where a lot of shootings happen? Gun-free zones. Right. Because they know they're not going to get shot back at,
wild.
And so, I'm going to try to tie it back in. To use all this as a argument against the Second Amendment, being like, this guy loved the Second Amendment, he got shot, ironic. It's like, well, no, because if somebody there with a gun took out that shooter, they may have saved other people's lives. Like, nobody makes the argument that when a drunk driver drives through a crowd and kills all these people, that we should get rid of cars.
Right.
Like, there's the horrible thing that happened to that young lady in North Carolina who was stabbed to death on the light rail. That was a knife. Are we making knives illegal? Like, there's, again, rights come with responsibilities.
Well, and
the right to own a gun, you have the responsibility to use it as protection. And there's always going to be people who break the law, and they are going to with everything. Drugs can save lives. That same drug that was invented to save lives, fentanyl, is killing a bunch of people.
Right.
So
isn't that the hard part? Because like when you're creating laws for 1 million or more people to follow, you have to kind of like, you can't batch all 300 million Americans in one basket, and assume that they're all going to make good choices with their guns and stuff. But it's like when you're creating laws that they all have to follow, you have to some degree, give them grace. You have to at least assume people are going to be somewhat smart, You can't base all laws off of the dumbest people in the country, right? I would think.
Right, but I mean, I wouldn't be against, like, when I got my gun, I had to pass a test. I wouldn't even be super against like with a driver's license. Like, you have to do
to an extent, though, because
2 hours of training and then you can go get it.
Anytime I think of something implemented like that, I always think of, but what if it goes further? What if it gets taken farther and it's more extreme? And it's like,
did that happen with driver's licenses? No,
I guess not.
No, and in some states it's easier to get one than others, I'm sure.
Right.
Like, but we let people go and drink. After you don't have to pass the test if you're responsible enough to drink, and you're not going to do something dumb if you do. We let you drive. Can you drive illegally? Yes, a lot of people do.
Right.
But the system is set up for you to go get trained, take a test, pass that test, and then go and do this thing that you now have earned the right to do because you've gone through the responsible steps for it.
Okay. What do you think about this, though? Because I'm always like, we're in America, we represent freedom, so I always want things to just lean a little more towards freedom towards the people, right? So if the line is anyone can own a gun as long as they pass a test, right? And maybe the next line above that is anyone can get a gun, like a handgun, if they pass this test.
Sure.
A bigger gun if they pass a more
Sure, but
test,
that goes into your thing of like a slippery slope.
I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. Wherever the line generally, I think it should be, I always want it one step back from that, One less test, one less certification they have to go through or whatever, to make it just lean a little bit more towards people can do what they want. People have the free agency. People
in
have
theory, as a libertarian, I agree with you that we should be able to do whatever we want to
an extent, but we should have more
as long as it doesn't
freedom
harm
than
other people.
Sure.
It's harder for me to lean into that with how stupid people are these days.
But you can't base the laws of our country off of the stupid people. I feel like
you kind of have to now. I mean, you put why put stop signs at a stop when you could just say everyone knows don't go through this four-way stop, like approach with caution, look, and then go. No, we have to put bright signs up. That's just a basic example, but we have to do a lot of things for stupid people.
That is
like
true.
We have to cater a lot to stupidity.
Doesn't that suck though? I hate that.
Yeah.
Huh. That's very interesting. Dang. We gotta probably wrap this up.
Yeah, and because we started to go off on a tangent. I think there's a lot more to talk about. I was holding back a lot of the things I wanted to talk to you about with this for the next episode.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I've been reading and seeing about who the shooter was, what affiliation he has, potential other connections to other conspiracies that I think are worth going into, and I would love to delve into that on an episode with some drinks in our hands, and we could talk about some crazier stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. I look forward to that.
If you promise to tune in,
right? And kind of to wrap this all up, like we're talking a lot about Charlie Kirk, and just kind of like what I guess the summary of all of this is that it's obviously a sad thing that happened. It's not something that I would ever want someone like to be happy about, but it's also like I don't want it to be so extreme that it's like we're also trying to go and arrest all the people that have an opinion that's against ours, right? So it's like I feel like the summary at the end of the day is basically just like Charlie Kirk represented a lot of great things, and I liked it, the type of person he was.
But even if you didn't, even if you despised him, what happened to him is, simplest way to put it, not right.
Yeah, it should have never happened. Absolutely. Right. And I feel like that's what everyone's conclusion should be when they're analyzing something like this, just with the actual facts.
Yeah, and the sad thing is that outdoor events like this on college campuses, at least for the foreseeable future, probably will not continue for the safety of the people there. Right. Not because people are going to be afraid to do it. If anything, a lot of people on the right are going to
want to do it now,
right. But the colleges now have a responsibility to be like, well, now people are opening fire.
That sad though, because it's kind of like that. Now it's we have to conform to the people that may go.
We had to start taking our shoes off when we flew on airplanes and all that stuff too. Like sometimes they're.
It's rough.
Yeah, and it sucks, and that's we have to make the laws because of stupid people who would hurt somebody for something they said.
I want there to be a firm difference as when a law is being made because of certain reasons that cause that versus that should actually be a law. Because just like the whole guns on planes, that shouldn't have to be a law. It is because of repercussions.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't have to be in a good society.
Another analogy.
Absolutely.
There's no speed limit in this country that's above 70, 80 miles an hour, probably, right?
Yeah, but there should be.
Cars, the speedometer goes up to what, 120, 160?
My car goes up to 200.
Yeah. Why is there even a car that could do that? If the place where it is, it's illegal.
This is the American dream.
I'm just saying, like, we have to set certain laws for the protection of other people. Not for the punishment of you as a citizen,
right,
but to protect people who are minding their own business and living as a good American, and whether they say something you don't like or live a life that you don't approve of or whatever it is, whatever you do in your life, if it's not causing physical harm to somebody else, you should be allowed to do it and not have to worry that you're going to get shot publicly for it.
Right.
That's basically what it comes down to for me. I have a lot more to say about this.
I know. We'll definitely be doing more, but I feel like at the end of the day, the goal of this is just kind of like share our opinions on everything that's happened, but also just to encourage talking things out like this, just
Yeah.
so that people, no matter who you are, you should be thinking about the laws of where you're at, you know, why things are implemented the way they are, and if you don't agree with them, speak out about it, you know.
And to that point, like, comment on this video, tell us what you agree or disagree with
Right.
anything we said.
Absolutely,
like this,
yeah.
and that
Because I'm not firm in what I always like to say that I'm learning and developing my own like opinions all the time.
me too,
So
but I'm
not
also
super
more
set.
right than Eskel. So
Well, he's a little more set in his ways for sure.
Yeah.
I like to try and be as open-minded as I can.
I've
but
changed.
I do have my
I have
limits.
changed my thoughts. In my 44 years, I have evolved and changed a lot of my opinions politically, spiritually, socially, everything. I have changed and evolved a lot.
Right.
And I'm
Everyone
not,
does.
and I
That's good.
make the caveat a lot on these that I am not right. I know I'm not right. But while we're here,
Right.
I just
yeah.
figured we could have discourse like this to kind of figure out how we can be better people, right?
Yeah. I like that. I think this is great. But at the end of the day, I think it's just good to question everything while we're here, while we have the opportunity to really like test our own understanding of like what it is that we believe in, what our own opinions are. Like, might as well get to the bottom of it.
And always lean into love and helping people and do better. Like,
I'm so glad you brought that up. Yeah, if there's one message to leave
I
on,
just-
it's like that should be the focus.
the
you know?
silver lining to things like this are like a reminder of like, oh, life is finite and maybe we should do more good than bad. And
Right.
even if it's holding a door open for somebody, if it's reaching out to somebody you haven't talked to in a long time, if it's telling somebody you love them, like, just do that
Right.
more.
That's
you know?
why, like, I always say, lean on the side that gives people grace. You know, try to see people from a good light rather than. It's so easy to assume someone's from a hateful view or you know
Yeah.
from a bad spot. But it's like we need more good in the world. So I think that's always a good practice to implement.
And we'll get into the conspiracy and different layers of this onion next
Oh,
time.
Yeah, if you want
Stay
to
tuned for
dive
that.
into that, if that piques your interest, definitely check
I
it out.
got a lot to say.
Yeah. Sweet. All
right.
right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye.